It is finally time for the Sacrifice Paladin build. Welcome back to Cocky Gachas, and in this video, I have finally completed my transition, albeit not all the items, not all the cards are in play. However, I do think that I'm 70% done, which is why I think it is time for me to make a build after testing it myself. Tweaking a lot of things, including feathers, all the kind of nonsense that you can imagine. I have tweaked everything. So first things first, we are going to go into my stats, and this one is relatively simple. It's just all Vit and a G. Some people might prefer going for full a G instead of full Vit, but personally I think that this build is much better for PvP since you are going to always get priest buffs, and with just 78 a G, you're going to be extremely close to 500% attack speed with 2-star food, I do believe so. And then your amplified HP can really help you in PvP scenarios whereby your HP is further amplified, right? So this is just the benefits of it in a PvP scenario, and I think that Sacrifice Paladin excels the most in PvP scenarios, which is why people want to play it because it's simply so strong in PvP. So I think it's a waste to not go full Vit. And of course, for the rest of the stats, I am going to start adding into luck, and the reason is not because I've already hit 500%. The reason is because I do feel that in the future, when my enchants get a bit better, I'm going to get a bit more AG from my enchants. So depending on your current AG, your current attack speed, you're going to tweak it by yourself, but full Vit is a mandatory thing if you want to go for PvP, in my honest opinion. The rest of stats are not recommended. Now moving on, I'm going to touch on the skill build, and just a disclaimer, I only have one build prepared for Sacrifice Paladin. You can see the rest of the builds are from my last time before I became a Sacrifice Paladin. The reason is because I don't want to waste so much of the diamonds on resetting, and I don't think that the min-maxi value is that high for me to have different presets as of this moment. In the future, if there are various change-out benefits for like maybe Bard or Dancer, when I change out, I'm going to get free presets reset anyway, so I'm going to min-max during that time. But for now, I think this is going to be sufficient, and for most people, this is going to be more than sufficient and very convenient, right? You don't have to change builds. So for the first job, it's going to be increased recovery 10, provoke, endure, and the rest of the stuff are useless, so you can add whatever you want. Moving on, we are going to have riding and cavalier mastery 5. So some people might choose not to add cavalier mastery and riding. I think that this is a mistake for Sacrifice Paladin. You absolutely need the max movement speed because you are trying to fight people that are going to kite you. You need to get close to them. So everything considered, you do need to get max cavalier mastery, in my honest opinion. 8% for that one level or it's not going to be worth it to sacrifice. So 40% movement speed bonus is mandatory, in my opinion. Next is going to be 5 smite. This is just to unlock protection so that we can subsequently unlock fortitude. Faith is absolutely important because of the 3000 HP, and also there is a cogwheel that increases your HP based on your level of faith, so that is also going to be important. HP equals damage. Remember, in Sacrifice Paladin, you always want more HP, especially with some of the changes to the formula. I'm going to touch on that in a separate video. Here, next you're going to have Providence because you want to unlock Auto Guard level 10. So Auto Guard level 10, very, very important. This is an absolute nightmare for all melee classes, especially for LKs that are looking at Paladins, because we are both swordsmen, right? So they'll look at you, you'll look at me, but when they hit us with Auto Guard and Reflect Shield, they're going to really, really regret their decisions of being an LK or staying an LK. And also 25% chance to block Asura Strike. As you guys know, right, this is your only protection against them. For Spear Mastery, we only have it at 5 because we don't need physical attack. Remember that physical attack is not taken in by the sacrifice build. Although I always mention it's useless, technically there's a bit of use. It goes into the normal attack part of your damage. However, the sacrifice part is absolutely the main part of the Sacrifice Paladin build. So normal attacks, we're not going to consider them, which is why we never go for physical attack. So this is just to unlock the Spear Quicken. That's about it for the second job. Moving next to Chant's second job, Fortitude 5. This is a self-explanatory. 15% HP, increases your damage, increases your tankiness. There's no reason not to add it. There's nothing else you can add anyways. Spear Quicken 10, it's very important, not just for the attack speed, but also crit. Paladins really, really lack crit. Even now, I don't have enough crit. So this is going to be good. The Flea 20 is going to be irrelevant, but yeah, this is mainly for attack speed and crit. Definitely need it. Martel's Reckoning, which is what we call sacrifice. So for people that have no idea, this basically translates off your max HP. You can see 5% of max HP. So this is going to give you 5 extra normal attacks. Of course, with the Rule Blue Spear, we are going to have extra attacks or unlimited attacks, so to speak, when at plus 15, which is the reason why most people say that you can only play at plus 15. Before that, it's not really that effective. Of course, with every hit, you also lose HP, which is a key part of your character building. You do need to take into account this. This lasts for 15 seconds, and if you don't have a plus 15 weapon, likely at 500 attack speed, you're going to be done in 1.5 seconds, and then you will have a downtime of 3.5 seconds before you can cast it again. So absolutely key for you to have plus 15. And last note, this is always force neutral, so you cannot use converters, which is why, although a lot of people say that Paladin's Sacrifice Paladin is very strong, but with the Raedric cards release and potentially next time maybe Goshen card is going to be a bit more available, you're going to face a lot of problems when using a Paladin as opposed to something like a Sniper that also recently got buffed, right? You're going to be able to change your element to suit what you need to do in the moment. So this is a disadvantage of the Sacrifice Paladin. Next is going to be 5 in Defender Aura and 9 in Shield Reflect. So this is where I say that you need to have multiple builds to really min-max. However, I would say the priority is going to be in Defending Aura because most melee classes are not that strong. And in the scenario whereby you are going to face in like WoE, you're going to face in Guild League, a lot of time you're going to be receiving range damage and also magic damage. So this takes care of both, reduces 30% of range physical damage taken and also 10% of the magic damage taken. So this is going to be very key. Most of the time I just stay on Defending Aura. I don't really go to Reflect Shield unless it's a 3v3 scenario whereby I see that people or the opponent teams are made up of melee classes only, then I would switch to Shield Reflect. But otherwise, I would always stay on Defending Aura. And then there is lastly a 2 in Better Chant. So the reason why 2 in Better Chant is very simple, and of course some people still don't know how to do the white aura thing, so I'm just going to demonstrate over here. So you can see on my manual skills, you cannot put Better Chant on auto, by the way. So there's a level 1, there's a level 2. Remember to not take this button, right, so that you are able to pull your Better Chant over here. You can select the level. So one level 1, one level 2 on 2 pages, 2 different pages over here. And then once you come over here, usually I prefer the buffs for myself to be level 2 and then the negative debuffs to be level 1. So this is the level 1. I'm going to click it first 1 time, 2 time, purple light, and then go to the first. This is level 2, so click it 1 time. Notice this is a white light. So this is how you get white light to get the benefits of both buffing yourself and also debuffing your enemies. Now on to the equipment, I'm going to show it over here. So weapon needs to be on Rue Blue Spear. It increases your attack speed. It gives you extra reckoning charges, so plus 3 at plus 6. So that means you're going to have 8 charges instead of only 5, which means that it is also kind of playable at plus 6, however, not the best. At plus 10, it's going to give you extra attack speed, very important. And then lastly, at plus 15, unlimited charges, meaning on 15 seconds, if you have 500 attack speed, it's going to be 5 times 15. That is going to be 75 attacks instead of 8 attacks. So a big difference if you can really tell, right? So this is very important for it to be at plus 15. Next is going to be the rest of the stuff. Also, all this stuff kind of complements what you need to be a successful Sacrifice Paladin build. Having a plus 15 weapon is only the entry point. Remember guys, only entry point. You can start playing it, but you are not going to be extremely good in my opinion. So first you need to have attack speed. So I'm going to touch on the helmet first. So this is where I'm using the Aviator Helm. This is the pass item. It has a 3% chance to cast level 5 increase Urgy. So this is not just for your attack speed, it is also for your movement speed. So movement speed, very important, which is also why the Cavalier Mastery is very important. And this also stacks with the Priest increase Urgy. So this is where you can get extra benefits, which is why I say that it's very important. Either have this or Lunar Glyph. If you really don't have it, I don't think it's that feasible right now because our builds don't have enough stat point for you to add so that you can get enough attack speed. However, in the future, when there is more stat points, when the enchants get stronger, you are able to definitely run without either the Aviator Helm or the Lunar Glyph. But for now, I think that this is going to be mandatory. And also, even in the future, when you can have enough attack speed, right, the movement speed is still very important unless you are going to full-time have a priest slave buff you when you're training, etc, etc. So for people that are playing on mobile, you potentially will always want to have at least one of these items, right? Aviator Helmet or Lunar Glyph. So Lunar Glyph can be redeemed in the wardrobe. So you go to the wardrobe, you can click on Lunar Glyph. It's the face wear item. So over here, so this is Lunar Glyph. You can see increase auto cast level 5 increase Urgy, and to obtain it you just have to go to redemption and you need to have 150. I only have 46 currently. So in the future I might change to Lunar Glyph. Really depends on how I want to play it. So for now I'm using Aviator Helmet. And for this, I'm using the Healing Bandage for the HP. All of your items is going to focus on increasing HP because it increases your tankiness and your damage. Remember, 2-4, right? This is why Paladins are so strong. Next is going to be the Gopni armor or Gopni set, right? So this one self-explanatory. It gives you a lot of HP. My shield Holy Guard over here increases your HP and also gives you extra faith bonuses. So this is going to increase your HP, increase your damage. Everything increasing HP focus. Don't need me to say more. For this, I'm using Doran Pipe because of the 2 slotted. You can also use the Tooth Bunny. I did not go for the Tooth Bunny because I feel that there are going to be better stuff in the future, but Tooth Bunny over here, they did fix it to give it 2 slots. Max HP plus 3%. Next is going to be your accessories, and luckily for you guys, honestly, the necklace at level 65 is going to be super useful because it gives you a lot of HP. Of course, previously I was using the golden foot ring, and the reason why I was using golden foot ring wasn't that much about HP. It was more because I was trying to get the healing taken, which is why I also refined it to plus 10. You can see this brooch, right? I changed it to brooch, but previously it was plus 10, healing taken plus 5%, but now MVPs become top 3 TR, so it's very easy for you to MVP. Don't need to really focus on golden foot ring to get MVP anymore, so which is why I changed it out. And the next option you're going to have is going to be brooch, because like I mentioned, right, your attack speed is incredibly low, especially since you carry a shield, so you definitely want more attack speed, which is why I went with the brooch. You can definitely go with 2 brooches to increase your attack speed even more, right? And next we're going to talk about the costume. This current 100-day pouring chest event, salute to detective, very important. You salute to them, right? This one max HP plus 5%, P damage plus 3%, all stats plus 2. Everything is very useful, so this is currently the best in slot for Sacrifice Paladin bar none, okay? For now, because they are definitely going to release some OP shit in the future. And of course, for this, I'm using my pouring backpack. If you want 2 slotted, you can definitely find options. Personally, I think that the current strongest one, if you are Refine plus 10, is going to be Space Kitty. I did miss it. Refine plus 10, max HP plus 3%, and also give you P damage and also give you all stats plus 1. So this is really best in slot if you have Refine plus 10. So this is all about the equipments. Next, we are going to move on to the cut. So in each slot, I'm going to touch on this. This is going to be Awakened Marten cut. It gives you max HP plus 1.5%. You can also opt for a late Oma cut for the fire resistance. It's really up to you. Personally, I do feel that this is cheap and this is good. So max HP plus 1.5%, definitely, because nothing to be scoffed at. Next is going to be for this one. This one is going to be useless, so if you don't have any of the cards, feel free to not put any cards, right? This is not important. We cannot take this in. Like I mentioned, all of this is normal attack only, very minuscule, right? Don't need to go the extra mile to awaken all these nonsense cards. Next is going to be this one, most important, Angeling Puppet 1. And in Taiwan server, there are actually ways to get Angeling Puppet 2 without using Nyan. So in the future, hopefully this comes to us as well, so we get more max HP. For now, I choose to not awaken it because it's quite expensive, right? 80k per cut, and you do need 7 more cuts. So 7 is what, 560k, not mentioning all the awakened materials just for the extra, I think 3%. So I don't think it's going to be worth it for now. There are other areas I can use less Zenny to upgrade, so I'm not going to touch it. And next is going to be the armor. The armor here, I have Peko at 1 star. You guys can choose to max awaken, but me personally, I think that 1 star is enough for me. The reason why is because for a lot of scenarios, I don't use Peko. In PvP, I can show you guys, right, my cards over here. In PvP, I would use aggro cut because it changes your armor to poison. So poison is really sick, especially because assassins always like to enchant deadly poison, so reduce the damage significantly and also doesn't take extra damage from any of the other elements. So this is what I use for most scenarios. For Pasana, I use it for Chimera, which I'm farming full time. I think I'm up to like 85 Chimeras or something. Never drop accessories. Never mind, we slowly farm, okay? It's going to change to fire element, so this is also going to help you in the temple. So a lot of times you're not going to be using Peko. It's only when you are training, and for training, I don't feel like the min-maxing part is that important. Just personally, this is how I feel, and for farming also, right? So most of the time not going to make a big difference, so I'm not choosing to invest in this. Also 40k per pop and quite hard to snatch, so I'm not going to do that for now. For this one, I'm using Awakened Megalodon card, max HP plus 7%. Some people might say that the Outlaws card gives you max HP plus 5% and then 1 extra % if you max Awaken. However, it's 80k, and for that 1%, I don't think it's worth it. It's all about min-maxing. with a value in mind, right? So I don't think that it's worth my Zenny as of this moment. And of course, before I Max Awaken the Outlaws card, right, I'm going to be losing out on the HP that I gain from a Max Awaken Megalodon card, which is much easier to Max Awaken. And for PvP, I do use Tara Frog because I have Tara Frog, but personally I think that you can still run with a max HP 7%. This is going to help you a lot. And also the freeze resistance is going to come in clutch, right? So freeze resistance against Stormgust is going to be good. And for people asking why I got a Tara Frog out of nowhere, I got it from a Purple Star album, Purple Star coin. Very lucky here. Gravity kind of liked me these days, right? Pasana also dropped at 27% PT. What's next? I'm not sure, but the luck seems to be turning quite well. So this is for the cards over here. For my shoes, I choose to go with Sohi instead of Mato because I get more max HP. I do think that Urgi is going to be much easier to obtain in the future, like I mentioned, so that 1 or 2 Urgi, not the biggest deal. Instead, I want more max HP. And then for here, I'm going with Eclipse. Of course, for now, I'm putting the Jet card because I'm farming Chimera full time, so I just put Jet card to resist more fire damage. And then for this one, it's going to be very important. You need a lot of crit. So that's why I'm going with all Cobalt cards. You can see I'm having a hard time snatching the Cobalt cards. Haven't managed to snatch that many yet. So this one 1 star. I'm going to focus on everything 1 star, everything 2 star, and everything 3 star. So that is the most efficient way to level them up. Anyways, extra stars only at the P damage. So if you don't have money, you don't have Zenny, just get 3 of the Cobalt cards first so that you are at least able to obtain those crit. You can also go for 4 to put all 4 slots. However, my last slot is Perma on Osiris, and sometimes I would change it to Milka card. But yeah, I don't think 4 Cobalt cards is going to be necessary, which is why I didn't go with that. So this is all for the accessories, and of course, we saved the best for the last, and that is the weapon. And as you can see here, I have a Max Awaken Hunterfly as well as a Goblin Steam Rider. So this is where a lot of the card variations can come. Personally, I'm using Hunterfly full time because I'm saving Zenny and I don't have that much Zenny, so I prioritize having a Hunterfly. This is one of the requirements for you to farm with the Sacrifice Paladin build. If you do not have a Max Awaken Hunterfly or at least 2 Hunterfly cards, right? Unless you have a Priest for now. So in the future, maybe it's possible. For now, I don't think it's possible, which is why I choose to prioritize this. You can take a look over here. It's a 3%, and at Max Awaken, you're going to have another 2%, 5%. If you run 2 separate ones, you are going to have a 6% chance. So what this does is it heals you for 15% of damage that you deal to enemies. So it's going to heal you quite a lot for you to sustain so that you do not die when you are training. Without it, you are going to have a very hard time, I do believe. Next, I'm going to talk about the variation. So for PvP, a lot of people also prefer going with like the Soldier Skeleton card. This is where it adds your crit because, like I mentioned, you lack a lot of crit. So for PvP, people prefer to go for this. For the other card, it is always going to be preferable for you to run a crit damage card. So in this case, it is the Goblin Steam Rider card that I'm using. Also, people prefer to use the Squid Gate card. This is going to give you extra 2 crit, and the rest of the stats are going to be the same. It's just an extra 2 crit. Also, for the card section, I would like to mention something extra, right? In the future, I also like to buy and purchase the Rota Zero card. So the Rota Zero card should be over here, I think. Yeah, Rota Zero card. It gives you plus 3 crit for collection. So I think that it's quite worth it because it's only selling for 300, 400k to get 3 crit. I think it's worth it. For Squid Gate, it gives you 3 crit as well. So I also think that this is going to be worth it. And that about does it for the cards. We're going to move on to the Enchants. Also very important, but I don't want to spend too much time on Enchants. Basically, you want to have all sharp, and I very luckily got this. I got the sharp 4 first, and then I used the function over here. I locked it and I spent 3 times, and I got this God tier enchant. So very happy with this. It gives you a lot of crit and a lot of crit damage, like I mentioned. Crit damage important, but attack speed also very important. You can see over here, right? You can only get a G as the best stat and attack speed as a next best option. For the headwear, I recommend people to go with Beacon plus a G, and for the face wear itself, I prefer people going with Vid or Luck, right? It's really depending on you. Either one should be fine. Next is going to be all the armor. It's all shining. Get as much HP as possible. This one need me to say more, don't need. Okay, for this one, I'm using Sharp Battle for the PVE damage bonuses. You can see over here, right? There is no other better one, so just go with Sharp Battle. If you really want to focus on PvP, then it might be preferable for you to skip Sharp Battle and instead go for full Vid and Luck. So this is just my opinion, but of course I do think that Sharp Battle is kind of useful for farming. I'm not going to full on focus on PvP. Next is going to be the accessory. So you can see over here, right? This one gives you a G, but it doesn't give you crit, while the accessories have a chance to give you crit. So you definitely want to maximize it, and preferably you want to get Sharp plus crit. 3. Now moving on to the cogwheels, the first cogwheel that we're going to touch on, everyone knows it, is Martel's Reckoning Protocol level 6 or level 7, I think, at least. The lower the level of your Reckoning Protocol, the more dependent you are on a priest-slave so that you can grind successfully, so that you can grind without dying. So this one quite self-explanatory, always want it. And PvP also quite important because you're going to do less damage. Of course, in PvP scenarios, most likely, and in MVPs, you have a priest healing you, so it's not going to be as important. The next cogwheel I'm going to talk about is going to be Aftershock. Like I mentioned, crit very important. If you don't have crit, right, then you cannot successfully have a consistency when it comes to killing mobs. So this is more for grinding, I feel. For PvP, this is going to be less relevant. You are not going to be able to obtain the effect as easily. So more for grinding, and then also management, the momentum management module. So this is when you lack attack speed, and also like I mentioned, this is also for grinding only, because at the same time you are going to cast a lot of other spells in PvP, especially when you're not consecutively hitting a target that doesn't move, right? So this is why I think that momentum management module and Aftershock not as good in PvP. In PvP, I would prefer Physic Boost, because it gives you the extra HP for every faith level. So this gives me 1500 at level 3, and also you're going to want a Big Bully. So if I click over here, I should have a Big Bully. So Big Bully does, what Big Bully does is that for every base level times 40 HP gap, you're going to do 1% extra damage up to 5%. Of course, at higher levels, you're going to do more percentage. So this is going to be quite relevant, especially since you're a Paladin. You're going to have a lot more HP than your opponents, unless you're fighting a Paladin. But most times, this is going to be quite good Big Bully. And then, of course, you can also go with a Bloodthirst if you want, because when your HP is above 75%, you're going to have the non-status effect plus 8%. If you have a priest healing you all the time, this is going to be effective all the time. Otherwise, you can go with Mana Reversal. Since you're a melee class, this is quite self-explanatory, right? So Mana Reversal, Bloodthirst, Core Overload is also very important, but I do think that Core Overload means personally I'm not using it because my level is only level 5. You can see the range is quite similar. If you are high level, the range is going to increase. It's going to be even more beneficial. So Core Overload, if you have level 7, definitely use it above all else. But if you only have level 5, I don't think it's that good compared to the other ones that I mentioned in this video. Now onto the feathers, I feel that this is going to be the most confusing thing ever. A lot of people are going to have different ways of building this. So this is what I'm running with. You can see that I'm running, my attack is running 4 gold and 1 truth. So this is the truth level. What I'm going to change it to in the future is that I am probably going to switch out the time space, remove this, and I'm going to put in grace and probably put in glory until I get light and dark feathers. That is just me personally. The reason why is very simple. The only reason I'm doing this 4 gold 1 purple thing is because currently my truth feathers are low tier. So when I have a low tier truth feather, right, I'm not going to be able to utilize the high tier effects if I were to use higher tier feathers with my grace, with my glory. And of course, glory is just a filler, with dex being a bit of effect on the attack speed. With that said, you guys might be thinking, hey, if I switch away my 4 gold and 1 purple, I'm going to lose PvP. I'm not focusing on PvP. Actually, absolutely wrong. If your true feather is high tier enough, right, me switching to grace and glory instead over here is going to give me much better PvP bonuses, provided that my time space are low level, and they are going to probably stay low level for another reason I'm going to mention later. So you can see over here, right, this set actually gives you PvP damage bonuses. So you can look at the set bonus, 3 purple and 2 gold over here. The max is PvP damage bonus plus 63, while the 4 gold 1 purple over here, right, max is only 69. So the bonuses here, you might say that, hey, the 4 gold 1 purple actually gives you PvP stats 80%. This is only based on what you're obtaining from the feathers that you're putting on. If my time space is low level, it's not going to benefit as much, and definitely it's going to outweigh by the high tier effect of me having this 3 purple 2 gold. So my intentions, switch this to 3 purple 2 gold, and then eventually I'm going to switch out glory, switch out the sky. I'm going to make it light and dark, and then grace and truth. So this is 3 gold 2 purple. This is my eventual setup. So 3 gold 2 purple. For now, it's going to be 4 gold and 1 purple because of the lack of the true feather. So once it level up, I'm going to change it. Next is going to be my defense. So my defense one is going to generally be high tier ones because of the HP bonuses. We're going to focus a lot of HP. You can see, right, this gives me 1260. So this is at tier 8. So if I have a tier 9, it's going to be higher, and I'm going to use all this. And The only reason I'm using the Night Feather is because I want to make it 2 gold, 3 purple, and also because it is a high tier, right? The PvE damage reduction, honestly, not that important to me. PvE damage reduction stat is very pointless, especially in Nightmare Temple. You're not going to rely on this stats, you're more going to rely on the season stats. Eventually, I do want to go for 3 gold 2 purple with this set. This will not have Like and Dark. The Like and Dark would be in the attack set. Resources are limited, like I mentioned. I'm a free to play moving forward, so this is already going to be my end game setup. Now next, I'm also going to briefly touch on the statue as well as my matters because a lot of people requested for it. So for this, I will just tell you guys the simple thing. First, statue, totally ignore. None of the stats actually affect you. Here I did add everything that involves HP. Try to get as much HP as possible, and for this statue you can see you can get P damage and P damage reduction, so this is very useful. However, my priority became this one, which gives me more HP, so I focus more on HP. You can see it is totally maxed out. I'm only lacking 1 hammer to get 6% of the HP, so this is my priority. For this one, you can choose to either go for the 4th stat or the 2nd set. The reason why I went for this is because previously I need ignore defense, now I don't need, so I would prefer maxing this first for the PvP damage reduction as well as the PvE damage bonus. So this one definitely add. So finish this, and then probably can work on this. This is my opinion on these statues. Next is going to be the medals, and for the medals, my medals are not exactly optimized, and you can see because I added some of the medals wrongly. I didn't know that this 2 affect pets only, and also didn't know that this one affect pets only. Focus your medals on this one. This is your main medal because it gives you HP as well as P damage, so this one very important. I also add this one for the HP itself. You can see I'm still adding this, so I'm just going to add this so that I can get extra HP. It's going to be cheaper, so really want to calculate the diminishing returns. I'm also going to start adding my reduction medals because it's important. Previously, I was trying to min-max my damage taken. However, right now, MVP TR is a joke, so we don't need to do any more min-maxing from that end. This one, totally ignore it. Don't need to add at all. Previously added because I was a lot knight. And for this one, Rock Medal, definitely want to prioritize adding. The Storm Medal is useless. This one is useless. This is only for pets, by the way. So this one, I don't know why I added it. I probably got drunk or something. Next is going to be the Fire Medal. Fire Medal also need to be maxed. So you can see Rock Medal, Fire Medal maxed, and then Frost Medal also important for the reductions. Lastly, you probably want to add Innocence, might be better depending on you want PvP or PvE. But personally, I feel that maxing this would be good, and then this one for the ingredients, you can use it for the other matters. Prioritize the other matters. This is just my opinion. So finally, I'm going to show you guys some footage of me training. I'm going to show you guys 2 aspects, the pets as well as the sigils, while showing you the footage so that you guys know how to adjust it basically for all scenarios, right? So currently I'm farming this 4-spot squid over here. This is one of the better spots, I do think, and I'm using Sohi. Without Sohi, I cannot survive. If I use Baphomet JR over here, right, cannot survive. The reason is because Baphomet JR will run around, but they will never be able to catch up and hit the squid before I kill them. So that's the problem. Baphomet JR not able to crit and hit the squid, so not able to heal me. Simple as that. So you can see over here, right, I'm not even using Battle Chant, but I'm able to constantly 3-hit KO, and my attack speed currently is 500% with some decrement, and the reason is because of my sigil, right? I'm using weakness gauge. So over here I do have the sigil tablet, so you can see I'm using weakness gauge, and the rest is just the normal like the HP stuff, right? The recovery HP stuff. So this is for survival, this is for survival, and this is for damage and as well as the crit. So this one very important so that you can get higher crit. My crit is definitely not enough for me to get 100% crit on all these squids. And also another thing I want to focus and emphasize here is that I'm only using 2 foods, Steam Crab Nibbles, 1 star, as well as the U Rice for my pet so that my Sohi doesn't die. So the rest of the things is not very important in my opinion. And if you want to increase your attack speed even further, you can see, right, sometimes it drops below, like I mentioned, right? You can either eat your food or you can remove your shield. So if I remove my shield over here, right, it's going to do significantly less damage. You can see drops to 128k. However, 3-hit KO is all the same, but instead now my attack speed is even higher, even if my weakness gauge stacks goes down. So I prefer training like this, and honestly then it makes no difference. And for people that are struggling to survive, right, maybe your Martel's Reckoning protocol is not as high, so you have a harder time trying to survive, right, I would recommend you guys to go to a 4 cam spot and instead lower your attack speed. So as you can see now, I've moved to a 3 spot. For people that are struggling with lower level Martel's Reckoning, this is how you survive. Lower attack speed, right? So as I've mentioned, I have not casted Spear Quicken over here, so you can see no Spear Quicken. I remove it so that I can kind of maintain my attack speed a bit lower, or you can remove Weakness Gaze, it's up to you. But personally, I do feel that Weakness Gaze is a bit more important because it gives you more crit, right? So that is just my opinion. And then instead use Baphomet JR. So use Baphomet JR. The good thing about it is that if you are running a 3 cam or 3 spawn cam, right, your Baphomet JR is able to hit the squid so that you are able to survive. And because you're hitting slower, it gives the Baphomet JR more chances to hit, so you have a higher chance of you surviving. However, it does reduce the farming speed efficiency, but some things have to be done, right? If you really want to play Sacrifice Paladin and you don't have the ability to survive, you have to do what you can do. This is the 2 builds I bring to you guys, one for people that are able to survive, one for people that are unable to survive. And of course, I know people want to see actual footage, so this is the footage of me doing Chimera. You can see currently attack speed 403% or 430%. So this depends on the momentum modules which I'm using. And over here you can see, right, I am buffless. I do not have any food, right, food buffless. So here I'm going to start consuming the food. So I'm going to consume all the 1-star food. So I'm going to show you the most budget option. If you want to scale up, you can scale up using better food. So a G Potion 1-star, the Fright Stream 1-star, and also going to have a Concentration Potion, which is a 20k version, right? It's not the more expensive version. So with just 3 1-star food, right, I am coming up to 454% attack speed. And if I were to trigger my Sigil, the Ancient Power, I would reach 100% or 500% attack speed. So for people that are looking to min-max more, you can eat higher star food, and this is going to boost you definitely to 500% without even using any of the Ancient Power Sigils, right? So this is just what I want to showcase you guys. For the Sigils I'm using here, I'm using the one that increases your damage, crit damage based on decreasing your HP. So that is just the only change I made to the previous part. And here I'm also going to show you guys the damage calc and also how much you can deal potentially, right? Just a gauge for yourself. Look at the damage, don't look at the percentage, because the parties here are not exactly the strongest, I dare say myself. So over here you can say the damage I did 16%, but it's irrelevant. Just look at the damage that I dealt, compare it to what you are dealing, or compare it to what other people are dealing, to get a full gauge of how well Paladin does in MVP. And that about does it for this video where I touch on a full Sacrifice Paladin build. I know that it's a bit too long, but honestly there were too many things that I wanted to cover, so I just squeezed everything into this video so that people wouldn't have any more questions. If I left out anything, do leave a comment in the comment section below so that I can answer your question if I have full knowledge of what you're asking of. Also check out this video over here if you're interested in finding the fastest way you can grind to level 90 if you have a castle. Definitely check that out. See you guys over there. This is Corky Gachas, signing off.